Well, hey, everybody, and welcome to Browns Digest. It's our daily practice report as the Cleveland Browns get ready for the AFC Wildcard matchup Saturday afternoon in Houston, Texas, to take on the Texans. Brendan Gulick, Spencer German with you. Spencer live on site in Berea after we heard from Kevin Stefanski and from Myles Garrett, a couple other players in the locker room. Spencer, the big news of the day in Berea is that Denzel Ward got hurt during practice. Nobody seems to know the severity of the injury, but he banged up his knee, and he is now officially questionable for Saturday. That is not great news for Cleveland.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, Brendan, inside the locker room, the vibes didn't really feel great around that situation. I did see before we actually jumped on to do our practice report here, Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network put out that he's been told Denzel is okay. So for whatever that's worth, maybe that means he plays this weekend. Maybe that means he's okay in terms of he didn't sustain a long-term injury. But we have basically 48 hours here to sort of see what that situation turns into, whether or not Denzel plays or not. And obviously we know how valuable he is to this Browns defense. So better to have him out there than not. But as this team has done all year, and that was kind of the message in the locker room from Greg Newsome and others, they'll just keep stepping up and doing what they've been doing throughout the season if he can't go.
Grant Delpit also officially ruled out. I would be normally extremely disappointed to hear that. Well, certainly I'm bummed. Ronnie Hickman has proven to be a plenty capable replacement.
Yeah, he certainly has. He's been one of the better stories in terms of guys that have kind of stepped up with all the injuries and being able to make some plays for this team. In a lot of ways, he kind of feels like he could take on that Rodney McLeod role moving forward, not from a veteran standpoint, but from a standpoint of he obviously is playing that position so well. So to become that third safety, I think there's maybe a future for him to do that. But yeah, without Grant Delpit, the positive side of that is that he's even practicing and back with the team at this point. So if he's able to go here in the next couple of weeks, so assuming the Browns win on Saturday, that'd be huge. I think it's also good news that Juan Thornhill's been out the last couple of weeks. He's questionable going into the weekend, but he did practice this whole week. So good signs that maybe he's going to be able to play. The other questionable player is Mike Ford Jr. So secondary still continues to be sort of a banged-up group for this team, but there's a chance that these guys could all be out there on Saturday.
Offensive side of the ball, Amari Cooper expected to return, practice today, although he did not practice the last couple days, working on recovering from a heel injury, and by all accounts, certainly looks like he's going to play on Sunday. I have to imagine, one of the big storylines going into this game is, the ridiculous single game record receiving yards that he had when Cleveland was down there on Christmas Eve. I have to imagine that Houston is going to try to do something differently against him. But the question is, how much different can you be in a fairly short amount of time? Personnel is personnel. And if the Browns can block the way they've been able to hold up for Flacco for the most part, I would think Cleveland will want to try to get Cooper going again.
Yeah, and that was asked actually to Amari yesterday and some of the coaches, just how difficult is it in 1 week or, to basically change your identity? Because Houston runs a lot of zone defense. They don't do a lot of man-to-man, and that was kind of Amari's point when we talked to him on Wednesday was, they played a lot of zone against me, and so to change up and become a man team isn't always that easy. I mean, frankly, we saw that last year with this Browns team with the defense that they played last year. It was a lot of zone, and I think there was questions about, guys like Newsome and Denzel have said they like playing more man, and the fact that they didn't change up is part of the reason why you bring in Jim Schwartz and do some things differently this year. But that's been the Browns' identity all season. Houston's different. So, there's going to be an emphasis on getting in the ball. It was good to see Cooper back in practice today. He was catching passes from Flacco, and he called Flacco's throwing poetry in motion earlier this season. It was poetry in motion, seeing those guys out there again. And I'm sure that'll be a point of emphasis for this offense yet again.
Anything else we're missing other than those main storylines there?
I did want to bring up real quick, because this has been a topic all week with the Texans. Will Anderson Jr. and Greenyard are both practicing today for Houston. So there's a chance that both of those guys, or it looks like those guys, are both going to be out there. So that's a little bit different. Two guys that the Browns didn't see a couple weeks ago. So on the defensive side of things, a little bit more of a headache to worry about. But I do think we've talked about it a lot, Brendan. The fact that this Browns team has kind of lived by this go 1-0 mentality all season, I think that's going to carry so much weight for these guys. I think they seem laser focused on the task at hand, and you feel pretty good about Joe Flacco, who's got the second most road playoff wins in the history of the NFL. If he wins one more, he's tied for the most. If he wins this weekend, he passes only Tom Brady. No big deal there. So you're going to get composure from him. He's going to come ready to go. And I feel pretty good about the Browns situation, aside from the Denzel Ward injury news that we got today going into this game on Saturday. And from here, it's just lacing them up and going and playing some football. We'll see what Saturday afternoon brings.
Certainly helped Brady that he played a lot of games at home. That's what I think. But he did win some on the road too. That's
I agree.
For
sure. They were in Foxborough quite a bit during those dynasty years.
Well, on a day where the Bill Belichick news is the biggest news around football, the Cleveland Browns are pretty focused on trying to win a playoff game here this coming weekend. It is awfully nice to be in a position where we're not talking about Black Monday in the NFL with coaches being fired or general managers being fired. This is a team that has legitimate Super Bowl aspirations, and their journey starts on Saturday. Spence, thanks for all the latest, man.
Absolutely. I know you'll be out there covering us in person, so looking forward to connecting with you. And obviously, people keep on following along at BrownsDigest.com.